Star Wars The Old Republic, loved by some and a disappointment to others. In this video I will go over the game and tell you my first impressions and what you can actually expect when you dive into the famous universe. Story. This story takes place in the Star Wars fictional universe shortly after the establishment of a tenuous peace between the re-emergent Sith Empire and the Galactic Republic. 300 years after the events of the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic games and more than 3600 years before the events in the Star Wars films. Graphics. Despite being close to 5 years old already, the game still holds up fairly well in the graphics department. Environments are crafted with care, true to the source material. Dromund Kaas, the capital world of the Empire, oozes a dark and dreary atmosphere, much as you would expect from a bunch of Sith all holed up together. And the desolate atmosphere of Tatooine truly sucks you into the world by way of fantastic ambience and area design. Contrary to the graphical quality of the environments and textures, the character models and animations are mediocre and clunky at best. Sound. If I'd have to rank individual aspects of the game, I'd rank the sound quality as the highest. Great music perfectly captured my imagination of walking through the many known worlds in the Star Wars universe. Subtle music paired with iconic sounds make for a truly immersive Star Wars experience, increased even more by way of the fantastic, consistent voice acting. I have to simply applaud the voice actors for the great work they've done because it goes a long way in providing an engrossing and captivating experience to go through. Many big names also voice characters such as David Hayter, who voiced Solid Snake, and Jennifer Hale, known as female Commander Shepard from the Mass Effect games. Gameplay. In Star Wars you can create your own character and class out of a large range of options, such as a Sith warrior, which can be compared to say Darth Vader, or an Imperial agent, which is like playing 007 in space, complete with the intrigues you'd expect when playing a spy. Whatever you decide to play, each class has their own distinct and unique story they can experience, which lasts all throughout the leveling experience. Generally, you have specific main story quests and planetary quests, and of course side quests. The main story and planetary quests are indicated by a purple triangle and are currently the best way of leveling and experiencing the game. In the current version of the game, side quests are completely optional and can be skipped altogether, and don't really add anything meaningful to the overall storyline. The companions you get for each class story are however quite unique and do add a lot of character to the overall experience. Most companions are memorable in some way or another, and some are even romanceable as well. Each class eventually ends up with 5 companions throughout the level 1 to level 50 storyline. When going through your class storyline, you will encounter conspiracies, backstabbing, intrigues, and other goodness never before seen in an MMORPG game. The quality of writing in each storyline is rather inconsistent, with some class stories truly standing out and others being largely forgettable or downright dull and boring for me personally. Of course, this is entirely subjective and largely depends on your childhood fantasies. If you love Jedi lore, you'd have a great time playing through the Jedi class stories. Personally, I'm just a Sith man. I love the ridiculousness of the full-time torturing, muscle flexing, and dick measuring they apparently like to do in the Empire. The gameplay itself is similar to other comparable tap-target MMORPG games such as Final Fantasy: A Realm Reborn or WoW. Although compared to those titles, there is a noticeable difference in fluidity, smoothness and polish in the actual gameplay. Were it not for the great music, conversations, storytelling and voice acting, I think the game itself would probably be largely forgettable. And when it comes to the content in Star Wars, the game offers the usual amount of it in the form of crafting, gathering, PvE and PvP. And there's also player housing. Overall score. Great graphics. Even though the game is several years old already, the graphics still hold up well today. Fantastic music and voice acting. High quality music and voice acting make the whole experience much more cinematic. Large, believable universe. Atmosphere. The atmosphere in this game is rather unique, well made, and fits the game perfectly. Quality storytelling. Overall, the storytelling is exceptionally well done, reminiscent of BioWare's single-player RPGs. 8 complete storylines, with each storyline lasting a good 20 to 30 hours for just the base class stories. Plenty of content. As you can imagine, with just the basic class storylines and the amount of freedom and possibilities common in MMORPGs, there's plenty of content to enjoy. Companions. The companions are great to have and really make the story come alive. Outdated models. The models look quite bad and unrealistic. I realize this is also a style they were seemingly going for when creating this game, but I can't say the models are anything to write home about. They do, however, ooze personality, but this is mostly because of the voice acting that makes characters truly come to life. Performance issues. Game has some performance issues, like rubber banding and occasionally pretty severe frame drops. Brain dead easy. The game is generally brain dead easy when you play solo. The companion does an incredible amount of damage, really stealing the spotlight in some moments. And if you set them as healer, I don't think you can actually die. Closing words. Star Wars The Old Republic is a good game, but I just can't help but feel it would have been a better game were it not developed as an MMORPG. The game suffers from varying degrees of quality that clash with the overall experience. The cinematic storytelling and conversations feel like a different game compared to the rest of the gameplay. Often I found myself completely enjoying the storyline of a certain class, only to be pulled away out of that immersion when I actually got to play. The gameplay itself feels average, with the basics found in any MMORPG often done much better elsewhere. Is it worth it? For a free-to-play, albeit heavily restricted game, the game has enough content available to keep you entertained for a good number of hours, if you're not averse to playing MMORPG games in general. My advice is, try the game out for a bit, see if you like it, and if you do, you might consider subscribing, since with just one subscription you can get all released expansions for free. My name is SirDutchie, thanks a lot for watching, and I wish you, as usual, a fantastic day.